Hi, my name is Aliyah Lett, and this is part 3 of my presentation research paper for my Research Methods course 312. And we're just going into detail of what was aimed to be conducted for the 7-point Likert scale. Does social media usage affect teenage self-esteem? Conducted by Lett, 2024. This study aimed to take it a step further and see if social media impacts self-esteem in teenage girls. So a Excel sheet was completed and each row included significant factors. The table for the participant age shows the t-statistics of 1.83 and a p-value of 0.079 of the survey data collected. In table 1, the average age presented in the table was 38. The sample mean may vary from population mean was 2.18. The numerical value presented in the middle of the data set was 38. The value that appeared most frequently in the data set was 22. The statistical space between the data compared to the mean was 10.69. The average square of the deviation from the mean of the sample data resulted in 114.38. The data presented in the distribution describes how pointed the data around the mean around the tails resulted in negative 1.31. The shape of the data indicated whether it was skewed left to the right was mu negative 0.04. The difference between the upper and lower values presented in the data set was 32. The youngest age presented in the data set was 22, while the oldest age in the data set was 54. The total amount of values in the data set was 915, and the sample size was 24 participants. So in the paper, we're just going into what the tables entail. The tables include the different means, the standard error, median, mode, standard deviation, as all stated previously. Going into the next diagram that is presented in the data is the histogram. So the histogram includes how often each participant responds to the survey. Each participant selected their agreeableness on a 7-point Likert scale, and instead of using statements on the axis like disagree, these statements were replaced with their numerical equivalent, such as 2. However, the lower and upper bounds did have the statements. The histogram shows that survey participants more frequently chose 2, so that means disagree, or 3, slightly disagree, on the 7-point Likert scale. Furthermore, a scatter plot was utilized to organize and describe the age of the demographics placed the participants responding from a 7-point Likert scale in the scatter plot. Based on the findings in the scatter plot, most participants selected 2 or 3, and the demographics in the age groups range from their early 20s to early 50s. And then a line plot was also created to describe the data and collect in further detail. The line plot shows that men typically responded with a higher rate on the 7-point Likert scale than that of female participants. The line for the male participants is slightly longer in the line graph depicted because more male individuals were used during the data collection process. Based on the findings and data from the collection self-esteem scale by Luther and Crocker, most individuals agree they are a positive social group to a positive group member. Most participants had positive outlook on themselves in terms of construction of a social construct. This scale is a viable research tool because this tool highlights the collective self-esteem of participants and provides a self-evaluation of their social identity while in their collective social groups. Like the Lutheran scale, Rosenberg's scale showed that most participants believed they had high sense of self-esteem. The scale was initially designed to measure the self-esteem of high school students. However, the scale has been utilized with multiple diverse groups, including adolescents and adults. This scale is one of the most widely used measurements of self-esteem, and the evidence shows that self-esteem is negative and linear concerning mental disorders and anxiety. However, Lett's research and experiment aimed to find if there was a correlation between social media usage and self-esteem among teenage girls. Based on the data collected, there was not a distinct correlation between social media usage and self-esteem. However, by noticing the harmful effects of social media usage and societal self-esteem issues, we can limit the consumption of toxic content. This in turn will encourage young individuals to appreciate who they are and reduce the constant comparisons made through social media. My paper then lists few references in regards to all the data that I collected and compiled in the paper. We had a few screenshots, our Google Scholar reports, our research paper articles, our literature peer-reviewed journal 1, in which we utilized the CSU database to locate the proper articles ranging from 2020 to 2024 to be utilized in the paper. This is I included the second peer review and then the third peer review from the library as well. We then utilized the CSU library to locate psychology-based books. And we figured out how to locate peer-reviewed journals as well. So instead of, just looking at articles, we took it a step further and looked at peer-reviewed journals, all found through the CSU library research database. And we had 3 of these. Sorry, 4. And then we also wanted to utilize the Google Scholar font so the Google Scholar search engine as well to locate a PDF, article without a PDF, because some articles may not have that PDF. And we had to locate an article without one and then submit a CSU library loan request. That loan request was submitted, and once it's reviewed and possibly approved, that article will be added to the database, so a PDF will be created for that. We were also learning how to access ProQuest, in which we can access more information and more research to further be included in our article. And then also preview of the article that we selected with 5 or more pages. That was also found in ProQuest, another great resource that can go towards research studies. And then we also had to utilize a standard Google search to see if that article that was found in ProQuest could be found in a standard Google search. After we conducted all of our screenshots, we then moved on to our screenshots for our SurveyMonkey. Our SurveyMonkey was created in which we had to take our research question and create a survey. That survey was a 7-point Likert scale, and individuals would have to state their claim and see if it was either an agreeableness scale or a yes or no scale or something in regards to that, but it would have to be a 7-point Likert scale. So that was conducted. We then also compiled all our data in an Excel sheet and also took a screenshot of the Excel sheet. It includes all the information that was collected from the 7-point Likert scale in SurveyMonkey. And it also has our t-tests, our statistics. It has our means, standard errors, our Krotos, our sample variance, all those things I mentioned before was also included in the Excel sheet. And the Excel sheet also had the dot plot, the scatter plot, histogram, and the line graph all included in the Excel sheet. And then last but not least, we did include our writing center appointments. So these writing center appointments was confirmation that we met with a member of our English Writing Center and conducted a standard review of our papers. They're checking for grammar. They're making sure we have all the necessary information in regards to our research question and providing more insight on what can make our paper look better. And these were 2 appointments presented, and those were both attached in our research paper. And that was the final thing we had to do in regards to our research paper. Again, my name is Aliyah Lett, and this is the conclusion of my research paper, article, presentation. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.